Freedom is literally impossible if you rely on trading your time for money and working with your clients one-on-one. Because no matter how much you decide to raise your hourly rate, you only have 24 hours a day. That means that your time and your income is limited. If you teach music or really anything, I'm going to show you how to build out a system that gets your students the best results, but it allows you to buy your time back so that you can scale your income and actually have freedom. There are a few parts that make this entire system work. As you know, when you teach, there's knowledge that you have to transfer to your students. And no matter what industry you're in, there's always going to be basics and fundamentals that every student needs to know. Do you ever catch yourself repeating the same lesson, but you're just saying it to somebody else? That's what takes up most of our time as teachers. So what you could do instead of teaching it individually is just recording a course once as best as you can, having that asset so that you can distribute it to all your students. Now you're not burning out giving the same information, and the information then doesn't change. You make sure that everybody watches the same asset. This also allows you to distribute information without you even knowing it. Think about how many times you sit down with a student, you give them so much information. Do you truly think that each session they're retaining all the information you're giving them? When you give them a course, they can re-watch the lessons they didn't understand the first time over and over until it actually sinks into their mind. Plus, they can use it like a dictionary. You don't read a dictionary front to back, but if there was a certain part that they forgot, they can always come back and revisit the course. This is the first part of building out a system that truly scales. Obviously, with a course, there's no support. That's why you need the second piece, which is group coaching. The reason why group coaching is so effective is that if people are going through the same course, on the same journey, learning the same thing, guess what they're going to end up having? Very similar questions. So now instead of answering questions individually, you can do it as a group. Now it doesn't matter if you have one student or you have 28 students. You still just show up once a week to answer the question for all of them. This is leverage. And we as humans grew up within tribes, all these things, constantly being in groups. So when people are around other people learning the same thing on the same journey, they learn from each other. Your student might be stuck on problem 1, and maybe you have another student that's stuck on problem 2. Student 1 might not even think about problem 2 because they're so fixated on problem 1. But another student can come in and ask a question about problem 2, and the first student would be like, I completely forgot to ask about that. That's so helpful that you asked. So the group dynamic is not only helpful to you as the teacher because you get to leverage your time, it's also helpful to your students because they learn as a tribe. Which brings us to the next piece, which is having a community where all your students can speak and learn from each other. Think about this. At one point, your students would have worked with you for months, watched your entire course. Now they're advanced. They understand the basics. If somebody new starts today in your program and they have a question, they could ask the community, and a bunch of your advanced students can help answer the questions for you. Now that takes more pressure off of you to have to keep repeating yourself over and over. You're basically building this army of soldiers that paid you, but now they're also helping you teach. And even you as the teacher and the expert, there's certain things that you just don't know that your students probably know. And so having this community helps everybody, but a lot of times I learn from my students. The next piece is giving them messenger access so that they can ask you questions whenever something comes up. Think about how many times you've had to schedule one-on-ones with your clients just to answer a quick question that you could have answered if they just texted you. So not only is this good for answering quick questions, but imagine if you needed to see your student perform. Let's say they play saxophone. They could send you them playing an entire song on video, send it to you. You could send them a video play-by-play back and be like, oh, right here, your finger is off. Oh, right here, your breathing is off, whatever it is. You could send that video back. They now have that video feedback and they can keep re-watching it until they actually fix the problem. Because again, if you tell them once, in one ear, out the other. There's too much information to retain. With video, they can keep rewatching it. So if you had Messenger to answer quick questions, how many additional unnecessary one-on-ones does that avoid? Not only does it save you time, but it also saves your students time. Because if they have a question and it's Monday, they have to wait till Friday for your session to get their questions answered, it just prolongs their ability to learn. If you answer the questions quickly, they shorten that feedback cycle so that they can keep progressing faster. So now that you have all these assets that are working for you, Imagine how valuable your time is now and what problems you can solve if this has alleviated everything else. Now your one-on-ones just become way more valuable. Your students don't show up asking simple questions, things that could have been taught in a course, in a group, in a community, in DMs. You now just focus your one-on-ones on solving the specific tailored problems that that person is having. So maybe it's a technique thing. Maybe their breathing is off and you can't fix that just by teaching them information. That's where you focused your one-on-ones. So now instead of showing up on one-on-ones and being like, here's how you play a C major chord, you can take that energy, pour it in a course, and now it'll just work for you. If there's questions that you can answer simply, you could just do it in a group and answer it for a bunch of people instead of them individually. So now you're taking your energy and spreading it amongst other mediums that compile and help you get your students the best results instead of just utilizing one-on-ones. I get it. There's certain instruments that need a little bit more hands-on attention, but still, there's always going to be fundamentals that you're repeating to each individual student. So even if you only used 20% of the course, but you still had to do more one-on-ones than maybe some other instruments, you're still alleviating energy and time by having a course to explain those fundamentals. Yes, some things need individual attention, but there's still going to be certain things that you can answer as a group. That still spreads the energy. So even if you use 20% of course, 80% of one-on-ones, you're still alleviating 20% of your time. That means you can scale your business 20% higher. Even if you don't distribute it among all these mediums, every single coaching business can benefit from using all of these instead of just one. If you want to understand this on a deeper level, I'll leave a training down in the description that you can watch. Subscribe if this was helpful. And of course, building your own business, being an entrepreneur sounds great, but there are a few things that people just don't talk about. And I want you to be cautious that these issues exist, so watch this video right here.